what's the difference between mini camp and OTAs? Because they look a lot alike. I mean, there's no pads, nobody's hitting each other. But what are some of the differences in mini camp and what are we looking forward to? So let's start out with some of the differences. First thing is OTAs are mostly drills. You know, it's a first look at a lot of the players out there and just kind of not going through the motions, but just sending people, let's watching them do drills, you know, not any one-on-ones or anything like that, just getting acquainted with everybody. For veterans that come to OTAs, seeing what kind of shape that guys are in, whether they're in good shape, trying to work back into shape, doing that, just basically getting people and their body into doing football activities. Whether they were doing that or not, working out on their own, that's something totally different. But this gets them more back into a routine of things. More organized practice is what a mini camp is, because it is a practice. There's the installation of offense and defense that are going in. Plays are actually being run. There's a lot more team drills, a lot more 7-on-7. More importantly, there's a lot more 11-on-11 that gets done at mini camp. So you're going to start to see some of the installation stuff that happens there. And it's kind of a miniature version of training camp, just no hitting. Guys are out there getting after it. Don't get me wrong in mini camp, but again, no pads, so they're thudding up, but again, no pads on. But it's a little bit more physical, I would say, than what a mini or what a OTA practice is, but it's still just a mini camp. But those are kind of the differences. Mini camp, they're trying to pinpoint some stuff down, put plays in, run it against good on good. Again, even though it's just in pads, you're still going good on good. So that's a little bit of the differences there. Now, what are the Steelers looking for? Well, the Steelers got to look for a couple of different things. First off, let's start here. Got to find a slot corner. Looks like we've signed one in Cam Sutton. So hopefully that is the guy that can lock down that position. I believe that it is, I shouldn't say regardless of what his legal issue is. If he can get past his legal issue, I think what the Steelers have going on at slot corner, make sure that that's a position. But even still, we saw what happened to our secondary last year with injuries, man. We have got to have some depth. So building depth behind that. But the number one for me, they got to find a slot corner. Right behind that, or maybe it's neck and neck, I think we got to have a number 2 receiver. The easy thing with the number 2 receiver would be if Roman Wilson just won the job. Wouldn't that be easy, guys? We wouldn't have to hear about all these rumors of Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, Cortland Sutton, Traylon Burks, signing Michael Thomas. We wouldn't have to hear any of that if Roman Wilson was just good enough to go win the job. Well, let's find out if he is. Now, in a mini camp, I don't know that you're going to be able to do that because it's only 3 days. Training camp, I think we're going to find out a little bit more, but that is the easy thing. But if he's not able to do that, if he's not, able to just lock down that position, then we got to be able to find not only a number 2 receiver, but then a slot receiver on top of that. So I think that's a neck and neck with slot corner is finding another 2 receiver. Next thing is, I think we got to develop some offensive line depth. We can't have enough good offensive linemen, man. You just can't. We want to build depth in every single Steelers position. Clearly, you need that because injuries are going to happen. Although we don't want them to happen, it's football. They're going to happen no matter what we say or do. Having said that, yeah, let's find some good depth, on the offensive line. And I think the Steelers are on their way to do that. Last thing that I think, let's create some offensive continuity. And what I mean by that, we've got new quarterbacks. We've got a new offensive system. So use minicamp to get the quarterback center exchange. Heck, the quarterback cadence. All those things are different. We've got a couple of different quarterbacks. Their cadence are going to be different. So those kinds of things that you have to get down. And I mentioned the quarterback center exchange, whether it's under center or in shotgun. You got to get those kinds of things down. A new running game. Find out the running fits. This is where the offensive line can start to gel. This is where the running backs can also start to gel with the offensive line and find out, okay, what do they do well? Where's the holes going to be based on this play, this run scheme? A lot of those things, you're starting to implement a lot of that stuff, and then getting the quarterbacks outside the pocket and even a Justin Fields package, figuring out all those things. What's the scramble drill? What are the quarterbacks doing in the scramble drill? Where should the wide receivers go? How should the offensive line react to scramble drills? Stuff like that. This is what mini camp is good for. Again, it's not a lot of hitting. There's no hitting because there's no pads, but you can start to put some of this stuff together because again, it's going to be very, very important to moving forward and finding out about this. So, like, question here that I have for you guys and put it in the poll. And the one before I didn't mention, I'm going to bring this back up. I apologize. Mike Tomlin, do you think that it was good that the Steelers, whether the Steelers gave him that extension now? Put your comments in the poll or in the comments, or put your answers in the comments. Jiminy Christmas, I apologize. Put your answers in the comments there, and let's get that figured out. Next thing here, Steelers and minicamp. What are you guys looking forward to the most? What are you looking forward that the Steelers finding out in minicamp? Put any answers or any comments in the comments section.